So you mentioned pitch competitions, and there are actually a lot of non-dilutive capital options out there. Non-dilutive capital meaning it's on your cap table, you don't owe anybody anything. If you're in the state of Iowa, not everybody here is, but if you're domiciled in the state of Iowa, it's your primary place of residence. It's where your business resides and most of your employees. There are a series of funding opportunities. Thanks, good trees. They do a matching program, and there's a lot of states out that do this. So whatever state you're in, check into what your state government economic development group does. The PSR starts at a $25,000. In our case, they're loans, 3% loans. I have wonderfully great terms that require a 1 to 2 match. So to get this, if you meet the requirements and get through the process, you have to have $12,000, $12,500 in new capital to match this. And they go up to the expansion fund, which can reach as high as $500,000. And a 3% loan with a 5-year amortization and a balloon that doesn't go against your personal credit is a pretty good deal. I'll just say that right now. There are corporate programs here locally. Again, you'll find these in your own state if you're not from Iowa. We have a pitch competition in the area. It's a statewide pitch competition. John Papajohn puts it on, and the total prize money is $100,000. First place is $50,000. So don't underestimate these, and don't make the key mistake of finding out later that you have to pay taxes on the money. If you win $50,000 in a pitch competition, and you haven't got your company formed yet, it's December, so you run over and have it formed real quick, guess what you're going to be filing taxes against? $50,000 of income. So you'll pay a good 30–40% of it back. State and fed. So keep that in mind. It's not, I keep hearing free money. No, it's not. The government will get their piece. Any questions on non-dilutive capital? Anybody's in Iowa? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you talk more about the Walmart Community Venture Capital Fund?
You know, I don't know a lot about it. I know some people have gone through the process. If you Google it, it's like chapter and verse, 100K type investments, Iowa companies, very focused. It was an economic development kind of thing done for companies in Iowa.
Is it focused mostly on healthcare tech?
No, it's not. It's on anything.
Just the name.
It was around innovation.
Okay.
Yeah. Mike, just a quick question on taking the loan and how do future equity investors maybe evaluate that?
I love it, right? So if I'm an angel investor in your deal and you need $700,000, it's what you really need. Well, you're either going to raise $750,000, or you're going to get one of these deals for $100,000, $250,000. Now you're only going to raise $400,000, $450,000, $500,000. So none of us, as a group, we get less diluted. So now there's just a little bit of debt on the cap table, but it doesn't go against my credit, it doesn't go against your credit if everything goes bad. If it goes good and you have a great exit, well, you pay the loan back. And so it's, almost in all cases, the investors would like non-dilutive capital. It's like SBIR and it's TTR grants, which we'll talk about, I believe, as well. Those are federal level grants for very innovative technology, but you really have to hit some innovative technology to do those. All right, let's talk about online platforms. There are a number of them out there that are getting more and more every day. Real quickly, this is just kind of an overview of the ones that are out there. Gust, which is angel-oriented. Most angel groups, other than some of the West Coast, use Gust for deal flow. If you apply to Plains Angels, you'll be applying for Gust. It is a software everybody uses and everybody hates, but everybody uses it, so it is what it is. One nice thing about Gust is once you've built your profile, if you want to then apply to the Corridor Angels, it's the same application. You don't have to redo everything. And you can uninvite someone. So if you apply to Plains Angels, we say, no, thank you. We're just not interested in your deal. You unapply, and we can't get at your stuff anymore. So it's very well handled. I think there's 4,000 angel groups using it, something crazy like that. 4,000 angels using the platform right now. So AngelList, good place to find investors, good place to find employees and competitors. You're going to find people out there talking about their startup before they've even named it. You'll find people talking about their industry. This is my favorite place to go to search for early stage startups, because you'll have people talk about InsurTech out there, and they'll talk about 3 or 4 other key terms, and pretty soon if you do enough smart searching, you're going to find a bunch of people out there and you can reach out. What are you doing? And you'd be surprised what they'll tell you, right? It's all's fair in business, as long as you're not breaking the laws. Crunchbase, good for competitors and investors. It is, we'll talk a little more about that one as well. PitchBook, Market data. Some of these have free and paid versions. Paid versions can get a little bit expensive. F6S is the one that's using accelerator base. Most of the accelerators use the F6S process and system. So the thing about these is you need to do them, and it's part of your online identity. We're going to go looking for you out there. And if you're not out there, we're going to wonder. If you've got an accelerator and it's not on there, we're going to wonder, well, why aren't you on F6S? Why aren't you out on AngelList? Why aren't you talking about yourself? But you're missing it. And it is a great recruiting tool because you're immediately looking at people who really want to be part of a startup or already have been part of a startup and they get it. You're looking for that key talent, that person that's a very unique fit. This is a great place to find it. Good for fundraising, and single point of data dissemination in a lot of cases is really valuable to you as well. So Gust, really common with pitch events. Angels, it's an absolute necessity. If I get people say, well, I don't want to put it in Gust, and say, okay, thanks, see you later. We're not going to change our process. Most angel groups don't meet to do due diligence anymore. We do it virtually. We go in into the deal room, we look it over, we write up our questions, we submit them to each other, we roll it together. So it's not like we're all going to a meeting anymore. Nobody's pulling paper out. None of us want paper. Paper is a danger because it can get lost and in the hands. And you don't want your financials wandering around in somebody's recycle bin. You just don't want to have it. As a startup, you control the access to your data. If you want to uninvite us, no problem. We can't see your data anymore. Very easy to share deal docs. It's not trivial. You saw kind of what the diligence list looks like. It's nothing like that, but it takes a time commitment. You've got to get it up to date and keep it up to date. If your financials are a year out of date when you submit, it tells me you're not paying attention. And as an angel, I'm judging you on how good you can run a business. And I've got this one person I'm working with that takes 2 weeks to return an email. Never starts anything up to date. I really hope they don't ask me to invest. Because it's like, you're not serious about this. You're not keeping stuff up to date. So, always do a pitch video. Get somebody to videotape. It doesn't have to be professional. We don't care how good the camera was. The cell phone camera is fine. We want to see who you are. We want to see how you talk. We want to see if you move your hands. We want to see if you're for real, right? So the videos are a big deal. There is a problem with people mismatching. So there's a place where you enter your financials in Gust, and there's a place where you submit your financial PDF files. They need to match. I mean, it sounds really simple, but I can't tell you how many embarrassed people have stood up here when one of our better investors says, there's one named Sheldon Ulriger who's super good with financials, and say, well, this number over here doesn't match that number there, and they're supposed to be the same number. Why? And then he just stops and looks at you and waits for you to answer. And the point is, you're asking him for $100,000 of his money personally, and you aren't keeping your numbers straight. Well, why should we give you money? So, the one-pager that comes out of the Gust system is what most investors look at first. And most of the entrepreneurs never bother to look at it. And then if someone says, no thank you, we're not interested, remove them immediately. Take them out. Reduce your risk. AngelList, how many of you have heard of AngelList? Okay. Beth and I actually participate in AngelList a little bit, not a lot, but AngelList is a place, somebody asked about the deal where we bring all these investors together and there's one item on the cap table. Is that you that talked about that? That's how AngelList works for investment side. So Jason Kalkanis is a very heavyweight investor. He was third investor in Uber or something like that, right? The guy's really well known. He's on AngelList all the time. He will go get an allocation from a company. He'll get $1 million allocation for a $3 million round. He'll put, let's say, $200K of his own money in the deal. He's the deal lead, and he's the fund manager. And then he'll reach out to his syndicate, of which there are thousands of people subscribed, and say, okay, on this one, the minimum is $3K, the guaranteed minimum is $10K, go. Typically, it takes him 48 hours to fill a round. Why would I do that as an investor? Okay, well, Jason's pretty smart. He's got a hell of a track record. He didn't put $200K in on a whim. He did his due diligence. Okay, so for someone like me who's thinking it's a 5K investment, 10K investment, and by the way, as an angel, I want to spread my risk. It's kind of like buying a mutual fund. You don't want to buy just 3 stocks and sit on for 8 years, which is what you're doing when you're investing in a startup. You're sitting on it for 3, 4, 5, 8 years. So you're trying to spread out. So for me, highly done due diligence, good lead, and so let's sign in. Well, it may take 90 investors, and the federal government will now allow a little over 240. Joe, what's the maximum number of investors now? 240, 250?
249. You can't have
249.
over 250.
Okay, so 249 people can come together. And so let's say that we max it out. So there's 249 investors plus the lead, Jason, all now are one item on the cap table. That's one, Calcanis, AngelList Fund 32. And I have a piece of that as an LLC, and he's got the lead, which means he has the vote. So now there's $1 million on the cap table, Calcanis Fund 32, and that's it. Jason gets a carry on it, meaning he gets a piece of the action. AngelList doesn't take any money for this unless you have a good exit. If you have a good exit, they take 5% of the investor's side earnings. Nothing wrong with that, because it's a lot of legal work to do K1s for 249 people every year. It's a bloody lot of work, so, and it's a pain in the butt. So raising an AngelList, it's a great thing if you get a good lead. They expand that pool greatly, and you're not dealing with 249 individual investors, which will kill you.
Yeah, in that example, is Jason, is the entrepreneur, selling to them offline? I mean, they're not necessarily getting introduced through AngelList. That's more about the syndication.
They're usually contacting Jason. But I can tell you, people on AngelList will go out and cold submit to Jason, hey, I got a deal. And I guarantee you somebody on his team are reading those emails.
But do you recommend that we think of these platforms as places where we need to hang a shingle, or as places where we should be filling our funnel as far as soliciting
Right.
cold?
So let's go back to, I would go back to this list and say the ones that's finding investors,
Yeah.
filling your funnel.
Okay.
Like Crunchbase, if you get a professional version of Crunchbase, which is about $300 a year, it's not cheap. And I've got one. If anybody's here in the area and wants to use it, you can come over and use mine. All right. Basically, you can do some of the most complex searches. It says, show me everybody in this segment, in this part of the country or the world, not including these parts of the world, who've done this, this, and this. And you can get a list of everybody that invests in that space. Or what's everybody that invested in Zoom so far, right? Because if you've got someone that's kind of like you, or you fit the same ecosystem, a lot of InsurTech companies in the room today, who's invested in InsurTech in the US in the last 24 months at a seed level, right? Might be a really good list to run and look at those investors. AngelList, these are all C-Spot running away, but simple, complete, up-to-date, fresh. It's just one of these, you need a to-do list for a business like this that you're starting. This isn't every 60 day you go out and you freshen it. It's somebody's job to get them all back up to date. Put latest, even if I can just see somebody posted in the last 2 months on a year-old account, because I can see how old your account is, I know you're paying attention. You are being judged. This is part of being a startup. You're being judged constantly. Are you up to date? Are you on point? Are you on task? Are you keeping track? It matters. Again, videos. AngelList is a social network too. A lot of entrepreneurs talk to each other on AngelList. And I skipped over a point another. I will say it again. I know a lot of people finding talent on AngelList. They're going there first in a lot of cases because it's all pre-filtered. People that you don't have to explain what a startup is and why you're not going to make any money for a while. I'm not going to go through this process. I talked through it real quickly. This is basically a written version of what that AngelList process is. Post-investment, AngelList does a lot of nice things for their investors as far as writing you entrepreneurs for your updates. So I guess the one thing I didn't cover in here that I kind of wish I had is the word crowdfunding. One of the first questions if you apply to Plains Angels is, have you taken money from a crowdfunding platform that's not accredited? And if you answer yes, you are immediately out. We're done. Because now you're talking about a cap table that has, what, 50, 100, 200, 500 people on it for $10, $15, $20, $50. There are certain areas when you have to do a vote where everybody has to vote. Doesn't matter how they vote, but they have to vote. How much time do you want to spend running down 200, 300, 400 people to get a vote? And what if that stops you from closing the round? So a non-accredited crowdfunding platform is a death mark in raising equity capital. It will stop you cold. Accredited crowdfunding, if it's a valid accredited platform, which I would call AngelList an accredited crowdfunding platform. Totally legit. But call up an investor before you do one of these. If you hear about a new one, call up Craig over at Next Level Ventures or a VC you know and say, hey, are these guys reputable? Will you invest behind one of these deals? Will you follow on from AngelList? Will you follow on from whatever that deal is? If they say no, run away. Most of the lawyers are pretty in the M&A space are pretty up to speed on this too, because they see all this stuff early on.